Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. As many times as we do this, there are those who would wonder, is the man still in his body? Of course. But his consciousness is split. Now, for some, they would say, well, this makes him a candidate for a psychologist. It is not that kind of split. Each of you have the ability to do what you see here, but it does not have to be in this form. There is a new energy beginning to form on the planet, and we are starting to discuss it. 1 week ago, we gave you information regarding what to expect. Some weeks before that, we told you some of the inventions to look forward to. But in the process of human evolvement, it is inevitable that some of you will channel. And it does not have to be in public in front of other human beings. It can be for yourself. It can be what some have called automatic writing. By the way, there's nothing automatic about it. It is you stepping aside and in the privacy of your own sentience, existence, finding out the sacred part of you is alive and well. And being able then to channel that which is inside you. And some of you will not find an entity with a name, but you will start channeling pieces and parts of your own divinity. You will call it channeling, and really it's simply communication to the higher self. You getting in touch with the core soul that is you. And it will look like channeling. And it will be. The next step in human evolution is inward. Not outward, but inward. For the evolvement of the human species will be regarding what the brain is able then to do with all of the DNA in the body. There's over 100 trillion pieces of DNA. They're all identical. They're all bonded or entangled as one. And they all present one common field as the soul that you are. Now, science has not yet seen that, and they will. If every single piece of DNA is identical, how do they communicate? How does DNA then see the compartmentalization of cellular structure? One organ to the next. DNA produces genes, but what about the body communication that goes on? There's all manner of questions. We will start to answer one at a time as you start to see it evolve. You are finished with the old energy. Now, we had told you last week, and we are not going to repeat that much, what to expect right now. For there is a release going on. And you're starting to feel it. And the release will have some anomalies to it, and you're going to start to see it. We have told you that among the anomalies of the release are the darker energies of the earth realizing they're losing. A last gasp, if you wish, to some older energy processes that will raise their heads and pretend they're in charge. And they won't be. And you will watch them be dismissed, probably for the first time in human history. Today we're going to give you potentials. We're going to tell you some things. I would like to start with this. Echoing and continuing last week's channeling, we would like to give you a 5-point 2013 Old Soul toolkit. That is to say, 5 points for you to look at. Things that some of you will need and others will not. Realization is something we have that the ones listening are more than the ones in the room. And we have said this many times. If you've tuned into this, and it doesn't matter what your clock says or your calendar says, we know who you are. The potentials of your evolved soul listening to this message is right in front of us. We are in contact with your higher self that knows your plan. We are in contact with that which you would think is a predisposed attitude you might or might not do something. We know that. And so if you're listening to this message, or you're reading it, you're right where you belong. And we know you. And so to a small group of people, less than 200, this is now. But if you are hearing this for the first time, it is also now. So let me ask you, who's right? Which now is it? And the answer is, it's always now. For the teaching, as it reaches that part of you which resounds to the truth, can be any time. The love of God has no clock. And we are so aware of the paths that are in front of you that bring you to places like this where you can hear in person, read, or listen. And to us, it's all happening at the same time. And so we greet you, even the ones that those in the room cannot see. Difficult to explain these things, it is. The energy is different. And some of you are going to start feeling it. There's a lot of things scheduled to happen that have always been scheduled to happen. As soon as the marker was passed. The 2012 energy, which contained a great deal of fear, has passed. And so there is a clearing, you might say, of the playing field of energies from now on. And it is real and it is true. And when you take a look at those things which may be esoteric to you, they are being honored. And that would be the precession of the equinoxes and the midpoint of it. And there are many things you need for your toolkit. Number one, tolerance. Now I'm going to talk to old souls and old souls. And when I talk about tolerance, I'm talking to old souls and old souls. You have been very tolerant for a long time of new souls. You've been tolerant of the old energy. Now I'm going to ask you to be tolerant of one another, because some of you are not going to like what takes place next. And the best way to explain this is to say that if, for instance, you have been a healer for 30 years, you have a process, you have energies you've dealt with, you know what you're doing. And now it starts to rewrite itself. And some of the things that are the core essence of what you've been doing and what you've been taught and the things that work, you're going to hear are changing. And you're going to disagree. And the bias that you are going to have as an old soul will be obvious, and you will say, no, that cannot be right. You always have to do this or that. The signals that you will get to tell you what to do in a process that you have been working with are the signals you depend on. The intuitive parts is what you depend on. Even the channeler will have a new paradigm before him that he must work on. For with new energy, the relationship between the human corporeal body and that which you call the intelligent body and higher self will start to shift. Pathways that you may call neural will start to be built that are quantum between the corporeal self and the intelligent corporeal self. That is to say that some of you are starting to get a concept of being able to talk to your own cellular structure and get feedback. And there would be those who are invested in kinesiology who would say, no, you have to do it another way. We've done this for decades. This is how it's done. And you will say, well, I can do it different. And so some of you are going to have to be tolerant. Open-minded old soul for new processes, or ones that rewrite the processes that you have lived by, survived by. If you don't, it's going to slow down the process of planet Earth. For then there will be a split in the old souls. And you don't want that. But if that is your choice, dear ones, I will tell you that the new energy is here forever. You're not going to slip back. You can't. I've said before, my partner has mentioned, you cannot unknow things that have taken place. And as you take a deep breath in the new energy and get used to new paradigms, you cannot then return to the old. So for those who are invested in processes, procedures, learnings, feelings, intuitive energies that you have used for years, we ask you for tolerance. And before you would judge or speak, look at the beauty of an evolving earth. Look at the beauty of an old soul which can now start to claim the things we always said you could do. 23 years my partner has been telling you what might be possible, and now you stand at the cusp of doing it. That was number one. Some of you are going to see this, and it's not going to take long. Books will be written. Some will object. There will be those who are learned and successful and have profound proof of their abilities, and they won't change. And they'll object to you. And they'll say, God doesn't move that fast. It doesn't work that way. And I have a message for them. It wasn't fast. It took thousands of years. And God does work that way. Just ask the indigenous whose ancestors told you the day would come, and it's here. This is not new. But there is shift, and it is dramatic. Some of you will see what I mean. Some of you will lose friends because of it. Old souls that just won't go there. That's number one. Number two, we're going to state it again, and it was last week, patience. These things that we speak of are going to take a while. Last week we gave you the story of the farmer, the beginning one, the attribute of the amateur who plants the seeds and runs the next day to watch them grow, only to discover that they cannot be seen growing. And that is the way it's going to appear, too slow. You'll watch your news, you'll watch your government, you'll watch the earth. And some of you will say, well, I don't really see much that's different. Any more than you can see the crops grow. There is a slow, methodical, consistent change in consciousness. Some of it cannot be obtained until old energy dies. Some of it will not be realized until some of those in charge of old energies are no longer in charge of them. Some of them will not reveal themselves until youth takes the position of leadership. And some of you were saying, that's just too long. Patience. What we need you to do, dear ones, in your toolkit is to understand that your being here as an old soul is the food for the plants to grow. You can't just check out and say, I waited long enough, and I don't want to go through another 18 years. Picture it like this, dear ones. You now have the water can for the seeds. And before 2012, there were no seeds. Now they're no longer those energies, and not only do you have the seeds, you have the water can. And so every morning you wake up and water them. And those who come after you will see full crops. This is the next thing in your toolkit, and that is patience and understanding and tolerance for things you didn't expect. In a new paradigm, there are going to be things you didn't expect, and you may look at them and say, no, not understanding this was the way of it all along. So let me talk about one. Number 3, attitude adjustment. Some of you are starting to put together some things that Kryon has said. Years and years ago, I channeled information that has now come to fruition. And now you'll understand it, and then you did not. We gave you this phrase: when everyone can talk to everyone, there can be no secrets. This has now become something called social networking. Back before even the phrase existed, I told you about it. A time on the planet when all could talk to all instantly. Can you see how that would disarm old paradigms of communication? Do you see how that might disarm information which was not right? Do you see how that might disarm drama, untruth, when everyone can talk to everyone? And they are. So the technology has given you the beginning of something that some of you, especially the ones who are older old souls, look at and don't want anything to do with and say it's a fad of the young people. The third tool in your kit is attitude adjustment. I want you to look at it. I want you to let a young person show you what they can do. How many friends that they can talk to instantly when they want to communicate something and they put it in a place and suddenly hundreds know. Instantly. It is a new paradigm of the way human beings are going to communicate. And I want to tell you where that's going to lead. For social networking has no borders. So let's just go right to it. What happens when an Israeli is talking to an Iranian or a Palestinian about something they saw on YouTube, or some energy they want to share? And it flies across the borders in a way that it never could before. What happens to the intermingling of friends in a paradigm that you may never understand and never see, and they do, where hundreds can talk to each other instantly? In a land where they never did before. Slowly there will be a lessening of the objections to countries who are trying to stop this, when they understand more about the benefits to them. And it will have to do with trade and the other things that are important to economies, when they start to understand that social networking may very well be the answer to recession. There is more here than meets the eye, dear ones, and your attitude is everything. For if you look at all this and say, well, this is a fad, this is just for the young, you're missing it. Totally. Let a young person explain what they can do, and let the light bulb go on in your mind for the evolution of the human species. For this is never going away. It's only going to get worse. And we say that in a facetious way. Will there come a day when this will be the way of it? In all things. It'll be impossible to be a hermit. You'll always have more friends than you want. These are the things we are asking you to look forward to. And it's going to require you look at them differently and adjust. That was number 3. Number 4, physical body. It has to recalibrate to a new energy. And it's going to do so no matter what you want. You gave intent to stay, dear one. So you have given permission for physical chemistry changes to occur in you. And for some of you, that's called illness. But it isn't. It's simply temporary imbalance of chemistry. And so what we're going to say next is that some of you will go through what you would think are physical trials, and there are some in the room who are already in it. And that's what it's about. This is going to be a faster evolution in certain ways than you think. For it's going to affect the ones who have chosen to stay and move into this next paradigm. Because it is difficult. Because it may actually put stress on the chemistry of the body as it recalibrates. And when it takes place, you'll know what I'm talking about. And when it takes place, do not fear it. And so we give you a challenge, a dare, if you will, that comes from my partner. Celebrate imbalance. And whether it's in your muscle structure or in your intestine or any of those places where you don't know where it came from and why it's there, I challenge you to say, thank you, God, that I am recalibrating, or I am evolving, and I know why. You're supposed to stay, dear ones, and water the plants. And you'll see what I mean. There will be some unexpected things. And now I'm going to be very cautious with number 5. And I'm going to change a paradigm of the way we channel. For 23 years, we give you information in the soup of potentials that we read to you as the highest probable potential that exists. These things eventually often become your reality because they are free choice, but we know what you're thinking. We know what the potentials are because we know where you're leaning. We know what the biases are. And we see all of humanity as a whole. It's measurable. Not by you, easily. And it gives us, therefore, the ability to project. And we do. 23 years ago, we gave you many things and we told you that now are in your reality. Well, I'm going to depart from that, and I'm going to now read to you a potential on earth that is not the strongest. I'm going to tell you about a human being that has a choice. I'm going to give you a potential that is only 50%. But I'm going to read to you something, an energy you didn't expect, a paradigm that is starting to shift. Let's talk about North Korea. There is a young new leader. The potential is he will never, ever hear this channeling. So I can talk freely. He is facing a dilemma. For he is young and he knows about the difference in the energy. He feels it. The lineage of his father lays upon him. And all that is around him expects him to be a clone of that man. To continue the things that he has been taught make North Korea great. And he's starting to rethink them. What makes a world leader great? So I want you to ask that question to a man in an older energy that you know. And his name is Napoleon. Not that long ago, dear ones. Not in the history of humanity. Not in the history of the earth. It was yesterday, and some of you were there. If you ask Napoleon what makes a world leader great, he will say the size of his army. How many countries he can conquer. How important he is based upon how many citizens then call him king. Not only was that his reality, but he was right. And so Napoleon went back and forth between world leader, general, and prisoner. And he accomplished everything he set out to do, almost. What makes a world leader great? What I am showing you is the difference in thinking between then and now. And the choices that an evolved young human being has that could change everything on the planet if he wanted. His father will tell this North Korean young person that what makes a world leader great is the potential of his missile power. Or what impresses his people as he stands up against the West. How he continues to aggravate those in the South. And that is his lineage, and that's what he's been told all his life. Now, there's a 50% chance of something. This is not a strong potential, dear ones. But I'm bringing this forward, for you're going to watch it work one way or the other. If Kryon were to advise this man, here's what I would tell him. He could be the greatest leader the world has ever known. For what he does now will be something the world will see as a demarcation point. Not only that, what he does now will be in the history books, and almost every other leader on the planet, he's going to outlive them. So he's going to have a longer fame than anyone. And it starts like this. Tell the border guards to go home and greet the South. unify North and Korea and South Korea in a way that no prophet ever said could happen. Start alliances with the West and show them that you mean it. Bring abundance to your people that they never expected. And the result will be fame and glory that the Father never achieved, that the world will talk about, a United Nations that will stand and applaud when you walk in. If I would advise him, and I would say, wouldn't you like that? Now watch him. He has a choice. He has his father's advisors, one of which he's already dismissed. He may get it. He may not. 50% chance. But I'll tell you, if he doesn't do it, the one after him will. Because it is so obvious. We show you this to tell you that this is the evolvement of the human species. The slow realization that putting things together is the answer to all things and not separating. Those that start seeing compromise and energies they never realized before will be the ones you're going to remember. And it's going to happen in leadership, in politics, in business. A new paradigm. And so that particular tool is this, the realization that the reality you think works may not. You don't know what you don't know. But you can still plan for things that are coming that you don't know, if you know they're coming. It's like driving on a road, then you've been told it's going to widen up and the traffic's going to flow soon. And you believe it and you know it and you prepare for it. You don't know when it's coming and you don't know what that means. But when it comes, you're ready. And you breathe a sigh of relief and you said, I knew that would happen. And so we close with that. And now you can watch as the world watches to see what this young man does. If he's smart enough to see the new energy the way he has the ability to, and become perhaps one of the world's most beloved leaders, wise beyond his years, with fame that no one could achieve, or whether he doesn't. Slowly there will be those who start to understand and see that unification is the answer to all things. And as hard as it is for enemies to unify with enemies, it will be their survival. For to continue the way they are, they'll die on the vine. And the old energy is no longer going to support the old ways. Watch for it. It's going to happen sooner than not. We'll close with the same thing we closed with before. Human being, do not fear what you're about to see. For the old energy will flail and die hard. And it's not going to go easily into the sunset with its head down. It's going to fight. I give you this as a metaphor. You'll see it, you'll know it, you'll understand it. Don't fear it. There'll be a period of recalibration and adjustment as this earth moves in slowly to an energy coming into the sun. The city on the hill slowly being revealed. the New Jerusalem. And so it is.